All right, so on the back side of day 7 notes, it says in each of the following figures, the congruent parts have been marked, and they want you to state whether the marked parts are sufficient to prove that the triangles are congruent, and if so, name the method that can be used to prove the triangle's congruent. So right now we have 5 methods. So one of our methods is, and the first method we learned is side angle side. Second method is angle side angle. Third method is the easiest, side side side. Fourth method is angle angle side, where you have to watch out that the side's not between the angles. Okay, and the last method looks like a donkey, but the angle in the donkey is really a right angle. The side in the donkey is really the hypotenuse, and the last side of the donkey is really a leg, and so they call it RHL instead. All right, there's our 5 theorems. We got to figure out which picture matches each theorem. Some of these might be misleading, so be careful. Okay. All right, guys. There are 2 pairs of parts marked in both of my triangles in this picture. However, my triangles are what we call back-to-back, and they share a side called BD. Okay. If I take a look at what is marked, I have 1 angle and 2 sides. And with 1 angle and 2 sides, I have this theorem. Or 1 angle and 2 sides, I have this theorem. Okay. However, I don't have a right angle, and so it's not this one. And my angle is not between my sides. And so this, guys, is a no. These triangles cannot be proved congruent. In fact, this is an angle side side. This is a donkey theorem, which does not count. Okay. Take a look at the next one. In my 2 triangles, I have 2 pairs of parts marked, but I need 3. Hopefully you realize that they are back to back, and so they share the side of SU. And so you can mark it and say that it counts as one of the third pieces. Okay. If we take a look, guys, we have a right angle and we have 2 sides. And notice that anytime you have a right angle, check RHL first. But you do have a right angle, so that's a check mark. Okay. The side across from it is actually the shared side, and that's the hypotenuse side. And this single tick mark down here is on a leg. And so these 2 triangles are congruent by RHL. Okay. Take a look at the next picture. You might not even need to highlight it. You might even realize right away what's going on here. But in both triangles, you have 3 angles marked, which is great that you have 3 pairs of parts, but 3 angles makes angle, 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 and that is not a theorem. Okay. Take a look at my next picture. Here you're going to realize when you're highlighting that you have 2 pairs of parts, a right angle and a side. But we need 3 pairs of parts. But they are back to back, and so we can go ahead and mark BD and count it as a side in each triangle. Okay. And so we do have a right angle, so we're going to check RHL. We do have a right angle. The side across from it is marked, and so that's the hypotenuse. And we have another side being marked, and that's a leg. And so these 2 triangles are congruent by RHL again. Okay. Taking a look at our next picture. As you're highlighting, think about how many pairs of parts you have. And you're going to notice this one's a little on the tricky side. Okay. You do have an angle in each. Okay. You also have a side in each. Okay. And there's this little tiny tick mark here, guys, that's marking like this part. But this part here is where the triangles are back to back. And so with adding, you would get that whole side. So I'm just going to go ahead and redraw this one triangle just so I could remark. But part of this side is reflexive and the other part's congruent. And so this piece here would be congruent to the other one. A little bit tough this year to see that. And then our angle here. And so these 2 triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Your angle is between your 2 sides. Okay. Let's take a look at our last picture. And in each picture, guys, we have 2 pairs of parts. However, my triangles are what we call back to back. And so they have a reflexive side that's being shared in between them. And once we mark it, you're going to realize this is the easiest theorem to recognize, but we have 3 pairs of sides marked. So side, side, side. Okay. All right, guys, hopefully that helps. And we're going to do a little day of review to make sure we know no matter what markings we see on our triangle, we can tell either if they are congruent or not congruent. And if they are congruent, which of the 5 theorems will it be? All right. All right, guys, I will see you later.